We are back again. Come ask us anything you want asked, and we will try and answer it to our best abilities. So, young Barry,
Yes,
how how are you in this fine day?
I am good. We're enjoying a nice bit of a bit of warm weather here, which is unusual, which is good. Work is nice and busy, and gaming wise, I've kind of been fleeting between a couple of bits. I've been playing some Kaze and the Wild Masks.
Okay,
I've been trying to get myself into that because I've been wanting to play it for a little while. So kind of obviously jumped in to get that kind of nostalgic feel of that classic kind of early 90s platformer that you'd expect from like a Mario or Sonic type thing.
and what were you playing that on?
I was playing that on Stadia.
Shocking behaviour. That is shocking. Have you
Yeah.
been playing anything else?
I have been playing after the Future Game Show. I've been playing a little bit of Turbo Golf racing, which is basically Rocket League with golf and a whole load of other fun, which is really good fun. What else have I been playing? I'm sure I've dipped into a couple of other bits, but do you know what? I've slept since then, so it easily goes flying by, doesn't it?
Was indeed. What have I been playing? I actually played a fair bit of Stadia today, picking between uh, a whole load of different things. It's been just testing things out there. Played some Assassin's Creed on there and some Destiny. I've been obviously playing some GFN and having a blast there on a range of games. The game I'm actually sticking a load of time in there is on Star Wars. I still haven't completed that. I'm like halfway through every single platform going, but not actually completed it. So I'm trying to get to the end of there. And what else? I just split between all the games. I know there's been no Slay the Spire, believe it or not.
Shocker.
That is a shocker.
One other game I forgot to mention actually that I was playing was Cycle Frontier.
Okay, what is that game? Give us a bit of description.
I mean, effectively, it's you kind of got you've got a little bit of crafting, looting, and all that sort of stuff. So you get dropped down in a space capsule. The voice actor who plays like the command module voice sounds like the guy from Icarus, where he explains like that you're being dropped onto the planet and what your objective is, and you kind of go through the tutorial and it guides you through some of the bits that you have to do in terms of kind of mining for materials, and then obviously you're effectively dropped into these mission zones where you've got tasks to go and do, but then you've got kind of creatures that are kind of dinosaur type freakishly weird things that are roaming around that are kind of going to they're going to bite your head off at the at any second. But then of course you've also got mixed into that the fact that you've got other people that are trying to do the same sort of achievements or doing different things, so then you can end up, if you're not careful, you can collect all your stuff, all your materials, and all that sort of stuff, and you can end up losing them because if you get killed and you've not found a way to stow them or keep them safe, then yeah, if you die, they are gone.
So does that hold over? So if I'm playing that and I come in the next time, the stuff I have stored, is that still there?
The stuff, if you've stored it, yes. If you haven't, gone.
It's gone, just vanishes.
Right.
So
Indeed.
so you're enjoying it?
Oh, do you know what? I think the it's got similarities and bits from probably different other games, but I think relatively early on, I think it would be fair to say that it's got some potential there.
So it's worth keeping a bit of an eye on to see how
Yeah,
it
definitely.
all sort of pans out.
Absolutely, it's free to play as well, so I should mention that.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of people. So hi Shirley, hi Ashes, hi Victor, hi and your mama knows. We've got a technical question to start off with here. Is 45 milliseconds good for cloud gaming? Oh, Barry's thinking about that.
I guess it depends. I mean, it depends at kind of what level of it. What service you're trying to run, what sort of, I guess, what bit rate you're trying to run, and all that sort of stuff. Because there are some services that, that you can probably say that's fine, but it also depends kind of whether that's your ping to the data center of what you're connecting in the cloud service, or is that your general ping response from, like, if you're just pinging out to Google and that's your standard response is 45 milliseconds. Because obviously you're going to have your main internet connection, and then you're also going to have your connection to the data center depending on where it's located. I think for some services, I would say that's definitely in the threshold of playable. I wouldn't want to go too much higher than that. Otherwise you might start finding that you've got some delays and some latency kicking in.
Yeah, and also it depends what sort of games you're going to be playing.
Yes.
If you're playing a turn-based game, then anything within reason you can get away with. Within reason you can get away with. But if you're playing a multiplayer shooter, you want that as low as possible. But I think 45 would be okay for most bar really competitive stuff. That's where.
Yeah, I would say so.
But the thing is with it as well, if you're getting that with one service, you might get it something completely different from another one. So it is worth trying them out, especially with the different free options which are there now. So
yeah,
just do that, and you never know, you might find one which is a lot better. Just keep your questions coming. We will get all to them. Any question at all, we'll work away and we will try and answer it. And your mama knows, do I get a Stadia Hater t-shirt now that I've apparently joined the club? Yes, you do. You can get them somewhere, and we'll make one for you. No, we won't. But yes, you can pick them up. Yeah, you can make yourself one. We know what you're like. You'll probably be out there showboating all that you're a Stadia hater now and living off that for a while.
Dear. Indeed. I have to admit, I've not seen too much of the social media stuff, so I'm reading into that maybe and your mama knows has been shunned. I know he got his PS5 lately, and obviously the new tiers and stuff hit the US, so I'm presuming it's possibly connected to that. So, but hopefully they're being nice. Not that you can't handle it anyway.
Yeah,
you will give them a good roasting if you feel the need.
Yeah. Don't be worrying about it. Polaris has got a question. I'll good to see Polaris here as well. Have you guys tried out a new PlayStation 9 much yet? I haven't. Too much of a backlog. We are about 2 weeks away from actually getting it over here. From what I've seen, I don't think there's much.
6 days.
Oh,
Think we get it on the 21st?
I can't believe how late of the. Can't believe how late it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, obviously we're in the same boat because we're in the same country.
Yeah. Maker has been chucking them videos out there from what I have seen, and briefly talking to him. There doesn't seem to be actually too much of a change. There's just been lots of wee iterative sort of upgrades on PlayStation now, lots of wee small tweaks here and there without a massive oh my god, this is so much better sort of one.
Yeah, I think so. And I know when we were talking to Maker the other day, he was kind of having a mini moan, if you like, that kind of the lettering and kind of the cataloguing on the PC app for some of the streaming stuff is a little bit kind of skew with, because you kind of go to a letter to look for something, it's not there, it's in a different section and stuff like that. So that, they've clearly got a little bit of work to do just to kind of refine it, maybe make it a little bit more customer friendly and easy to find the games that maybe you're looking for, especially if you're looking in alphabetical order. But yeah, you know, certainly he's been churning out the content, and of course, you know, I know he's got a couple of other pieces of content lined up for it. But if there is anything specific on PS Now that you guys want to see, obviously get the, you know, either drop a comment and want to make us videos, or drop them in here, and you know, we'll do our best to ask Maker to give you a little snippet.
Yeah, we don't have too much longer to wait anyway. There's, what's it, 800, 900 games on there? It's something ridiculous amount of games. So you've got an absolutely amazing choice of games, and we're getting snowed. It's just, there's too many games, too many platforms, but we're not complaining because it's all gaming and it's all fun, and it's. I think it's an exciting time with everybody sort of not ramping up is probably too strong of a word, tiptoeing a bit more into the cloud space. There's just going to be lots of comparisons and stuff as leading into the next one, the next question.
I figured.
Yes. See, I'm needing these things in here. What do you think about Boosteroid? Barry.
Okay. I mean, I think from, you know, certainly from what I've seen, and we are going to be getting more time, more hands-on time with Boosteroid. But certainly there's an element that it feels a really good void. You know, if you're a gamer who potentially is happy in that 1080 window, or you're gaming on a PC monitor where you're kind of in the 1080 window, great, because you know that you're hitting, you know, a pretty consistent 1080 60, and then also you've got some other games that you can kind of, Boosteroid offers you some games that you can get access to in the cloud that obviously aren't available anywhere else. You know, some games obviously are available on a couple of cloud services, but generally there's definitely a couple of games in the service which kind of fill a bit of a void for people to be able to play in the cloud and enjoy. You know, I know I've spoken to a few people that were playing Lost Ark on there before it came to, you know, to GFN, and stuff like that. And then obviously got things like Borderlands, obviously BioShock. So, you know, there's yeah, I'll throw you reference in this week. But yeah, there's I think certainly it's got its place, and I think it does a really good job at what it's trying to kind of position itself as.
Yes, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. Can I throw you under the bus?
I know how you're going to throw me under the bus, so go on. I'll willingly let you throw me under the bus.
Well, we are going to be doing our first comparison shortly, and it's going to involve Boosteroid. I'm just leaving that there. Would that be? Let's see. I didn't completely throw you under the bus there.
No, you didn't completely throw me under the bus, and that is spot on. Yeah, that's something I'm going to be working on. Is obviously getting one of our kind of as a new team, getting one of our first comparisons under our belt and getting that out. So hopefully get that out soon.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest with you, Boosteroid surprised me. I fired up a couple of games on Boosteroid. Yes, it's only the 1080 sort of stream you're getting, but it was running pretty well for me, and I was actually impressed from what I was getting there. The game library is interesting. I'm still going to be, I'll say that, I'm still a bit worried about Boosteroid. If they grow too much, what is going to happen to some of that? I think they're in sort of grey areas, which is probably how they're getting rounded at the moment. But if they grow too big, we could see some issues down the line. Like we say all the time, or like I say, go claim your Epic Games, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And this week is the perfect example of the Epic Games, because we did get the BioShock trilogy is available to play through Boosteroid, and that was only that trilogy was free a couple of weeks ago, and now you've got that option to play it in the cloud, which is always what we want to see. More choices, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just reminded me to actually claim last week, because I didn't claim Maneater.
And Maneater is available in GFN.
It is indeed. And next Thursday, tomorrow's game is also available on GFN as well, which is Supraland.
That's the Steam versions available.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it is obviously, obviously it's the Steam version, but yeah.
Yeah. So we will move on there. Uh, how did I pay for all them screens? I robbed many, many banks. Many, many banks. Okay. First, big topic of discussion. What do you guys think of the future of Stadia? Is there any news? Do you want me?
I don't
You
mind.
go.
I can go first if you like. Yeah.
Off you go.
I mean, I think, to be honest, I think as it stands, kind of Stadia is in a place where it's in a status quo. I think it's in a content bubble where it's kind of ticking over, and then I think really, with a lot of the changes that they seem to be making, more and more. We've had AT&T this year. We've now had Capcom come out with, with kind of variants of kind of white labeling service to deliver games. I think we are possibly seeing, that little bit of variance in terms of where is their happy place in terms of, the Google banner, if you like, delivering, cloud gaming to market. So I think realistically, I think Stadia's in it probably holding stations. Yes, we know they're going to kind of be bringing up to 100 games this year. And they're going to kind of do, fingers crossed, they're going to have to go at some rate to do that. But I think they're at a point where it's kind of status quo. They're ticking over, whilst they've then got other fingers in the pies, with Immersive Stream and kind of working with people that want to white label and get their own stuff out there.
Do you guys think of the future of Google Stadia? Oh dear, oh dear. Barry has got has said his. I'm still going to go with my what I've said on Twitter, I've said other places, a zombie-like state where it is just bouncing along, not trying to find its way, and we wanted to do better. It is obvious to a lot of people that the game situation needs to improve, but I don't think it's going to improve. I think it is just going to be the same old indies coming. I know there's been talk about Saints Row coming, and I don't mind saying this. I have spoke to the guys who are bringing Saints Row, and there's no news about Saints Row going to this.
You're awesome.
To Stadia. Polaris, thank you very much for becoming a member. Really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
We just have to see how it's going to develop, but it's going to actually need Google to do something which they have been poor from the outset, and that's actually communicate what is going on. We haven't had a Stadia Connect or Stadia, whatever it's called. The Stadia Connect, yes. We haven't had any sort of real, oh my god, this is really, really awesome news. I'm going to touch on some good news about Stadia, but it's just frustrating to see, and the last week has really been very, very telling in that regard, with Summer Games Fest is going on, and Stadia was mentioned twice, maybe 3 times. And then games were either already on the system or we knew were coming in that indie game, which I've forgotten the name of. From Space, yeah. From Space, and Outriders was the other. It's been a very disappointing showing, and people have said it was a poor showing overall, but Stadia was really, really noticeable by their absence there. So I want them to come out and give us something really, really exciting and to get people revved up for Stadia. What they're doing at the moment with the sales, if you feel confident enough to buy games in Stadia, the sales are absolutely top-notch. There's a load of games which, if you haven't been a Stadia Pro subscriber the whole time, you can pick up for next to nothing. Like, I think Tomb Raider's like $3. and stuff like that. Some real good sort of deals there, and the new trials that brought on, absolutely class. Brilliant that they've actually dropped them now in the middle of the big massive game sale, where basically every single game is on sale. You can go try these games out, and if you like them, you can go and buy them and pick up where you've left off. So they've got so many things they do right, and so many things where it's like, come on guys, do a bit better here. It's just really frustrating. And from my playing today on Stadia, I think the port quality, I'm not calling the devs lazy or anything, but the port quality between games is really beginning to show. Some games are running pretty well, some games are running okay, and some games are atrocious. It needs to be, I think we need to be have a wee look at that, because some of them games are actually making me feel sick playing on Stadia. But there you go. So, is there any news on Stadia? The answer is yes, there is news, and it's immersive stream. That's what they are pushing out to the different outlets. We received an email of Stadia. I forgot to mention that to you. We received an email of Stadia, but it's about immersive stream. They are really keen on the immersive stream end of things, and that's where I think most of their energies are actually going at this moment in time.
Yeah,
I was very long-winded, wasn't it? You should have told me to stop talking.
We're not going to do that. We can't suppress your voice, can we?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, so we'll move on. But Stadia, if you're happy where Stadia is at this moment in time, and you're just looking very short term, Stadia is okay. But if you look outside of Stadia, okay, Duncan, shut up. Shut up!
I was just laughing at the fact he said, let's move on, and then carried on talking. It just made me chuckle.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Hey, Feb, thanks for joining.
Evening, Vet.
So many clouds around, yes. I want to see Maker make a Spider-Man figure, a spider. Yep. Well, we'll see what
Spider-Man is up on the channel.
Yes. It's Miles Morales, isn't it?
Miles Morales is on the channel. Yep. Yeah.
As soon as they add Day One to the top tier, I'm signed up. We'll go for this. Don't worry, we're going to get these. Everybody, just put your questions, and we will get to them. I'm going to take that. I don't see that happening for a long time, if ever. And I think it will be just select games. Like, I can see the Haven game going straight in Day One to PlayStation Plus Premium, because that's a gas game. But I do not see that in the foreseeable future the Last of Us remake, which has been announced, going Day One into that for such a long time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, actually. I was talking about this. And I don't know if he's still in the chat, but I was talking about this with Ruben at the weekend, and it's a bit of a mindset thing, and it's a mindset shift. If you think that, although we know that kind of from a PlayStation Plus kind of perspective, they're hovering just under 50 million subscribers. That they're kind of paying into that, and obviously that'll be a variety of people that have just joined, or all that sort of stuff. But if you traditionally look at PlayStation's model in terms of how they look at money coming in, it's from you buying a piece of hardware, it's from you buying additional hardware in the sense of a remote control, an extra controller, an eye, or a HD camera, whatever they want to call it now, and then the second to that has been about software. But if you look at the way that comes in, all of that money is kind of lump sum, upfront, one-off kind of hit revenue, And then obviously sales might dip off, but a lot of it's kind of one hit, so they can launch a game and they will be able to predict roughly, when working with developers, at a certain point they'll be able to recoup their investment in making sure that game's come to the platform, and whether it's exclusive and all that sort of stuff. Obviously with this switch, with the new tiers, what you're seeing them is transition to money starting to drip feed in. And from a business perspective, if you think about the fact that you're paying out for hardware, you're paying out for controllers, you're paying out for accessories, and you're used to all that money coming in when all of that's sold, then you can't just turn that off as a business, because if you turn that off and go, well, we'll wait for everybody to, all that recurring revenue to come in from, all the subs and all that sort of stuff that they've got to their tiers, they're probably going to find there's going to be a gap whilst that kind of levels off and starts to pick up. So from a business perspective, they have to be gradual in the way that they do that, which I think is what you're seeing. It's a stepping stone towards beginning to get towards that mindset. I mean, there's part of their mindset anyway, if we are Sony, we'll do it this way because we're a premium brand. But I think ultimately they're on a stepping stone and on a way to adjusting themselves as a business model to revenue coming in bit by bit, month by month, and the value being in the number of people that are subscribing, rather than and then taking the one hits extra, is extra money that comes in, rather than being reliant on the one-off stuff and the kind of the monthly stuff coming in as well.
Yeah, it's going to the. Just, am I on the right microphone here? That's the question. I'm on.
Oh, I don't know. We can hear you, so.
My headset's acting up. That's why I'm worrying. Yes, that's all working okay. The PlayStation's issue is different, and they're trying to fix it, just like how Xbox is trying to fix their model. It's PlayStation are all, at this moment in time, one and done games, more or less. But they're trying to get into the gas model, because gas is where they're going to make it. And we'll see a big one off it next year with that Last of Us multiplayer. That would not surprise me going day one into PlayStation Premium, because that's a multiplayer one and they want many people in there. Then you can monetize the hell out from that and get people playing it and building all that sort of carry on. When PlayStation have a number of these games which have fully transitioned into the gas, that's when I can see more of these ones going in day one. It's too much of a business risk for them at this moment in time, and they don't have enough content coming in to justify it at this moment in time, just like Microsoft is having at the moment. We know Microsoft is getting there, and it's like next year is going to be their year, but we already know 3 big games are coming out in spring next year for Game Pass. I'm telling you now, at least one of them is going to slip, with Forza, Redfall, and Starfield. All 3 of them are going to be long-term games, because Redfall's a multiplayer game. Starfield looks like it's never going to end, and Forza, it's more tracks, more everything. You can just keep that going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're spot on.
So yeah, I do see it happening, but I think we're such a long, long way. And the thing is, PlayStation don't have to do it, because they're in the luxurious sort of position where people are buying their games in their millions anyway.
Yep, they are. And I think, Duncan's headset's gone again.
Yes, it has. I could hear myself. But we don't like me hearing myself.
I think you are. I think we're both pretty much, probably maybe from slightly different angles at points, but I think we're both singing off the same hymn sheet in that respect.
I just think they're just waiting until they can justify it and have the continuous revenue rather than the once and done. But yeah, it's just adjusting it. And I think we're actually seeing how big PlayStation actually is with the issues they did have with it. And just remember when they hit Europe, that's gonna be fun as well, because Europe is PlayStation land, and it's going to go a bit mad over here when that drops. I'm looking forward to it, because there's a couple of games I want to replay on PlayStation and get my platinums.
Excellent.
Okay, let me see. Ruben was saying, Flea seamless and ties them all together. Yep. Ruben was saying he was playing Lost Ark when it wasn't on GFN yet, and it's solid. Is PlayStation Cloud gaming on the Android app yet? I'm Apple, so I
You have to defer that one to me.
I happen to defer that one with you. Speaking of Android, just a heads up, we will be doing a review in a week or two on the new Kishi for Android, so that's going to be interesting. Guess which one of us is doing that?
That one.
Yes. So yeah, you can check that out. That's coming shortly, and it's going to be fun to see how that goes, because I'm gonna be watching, because I haven't paid attention to it.
I'm really intrigued, actually, because do you know what? When I changed my phone, I really miss my I really miss the ability to use my Kishi. When I went from kind of like the Pixel to the Z Fold, so the fact that although that it's not the ideal use case for the V2 to be used with the Z Fold, you can take the bumpers out, you can use it, it will function, it might just not be as flush a fit, which, fair enough, that we'll take that into account when we're reviewing it. But I'm also going to test it on on a different device that I know is 100% use case intended for it as well, so that we can give a good spectrum of a couple of different handsets.
Oh, don't be worrying. We'll be covering that, and I know Barry's going to do a class wee job on that.
No pressure.
No pressure. We don't do pressure here. Let's see if Capcom uses them to demo any more games, though. There was already a demo made for Sierra. Will they port for Resi 4? Yeah, I don't want to go bashing on Stadia, believe it or not, but we're moving into interesting times for Stadia. So what I'm hoping, for me, Stadia's issue isn't the hardware. I think they can make do with the hardware. But if they're labeling or pushing themselves as a white label service, they're going to have to up the hardware now. Because Resident Evil 4 is next gen only, and it will need Stadia's. I'm sorry to say, Stadia is showing its age. It's I don't think it can handle next gen titles at this moment in time. It for me, I know I'm going to get butchered here by people, but for me, I said it before and I'll say it again, I think it's an Xbox One X with an SSD. So it is reasonably powerful, but it is starting to really show it, and you can actually see it in some of the ports coming across as well. So what I'm hoping is, because they're going into this white labeling, we're going to maybe see the big rumored Gen 2, but will they put Gen 2 on the Stadia? That is going to be the big question.
It's going to be the big question. I guess we'll have to wait for that to be communicated.
Yeah, whenever that is.
Yeah,
Ken,
of course.
I really hope that they push out Gen 2 soon, and then maybe tie it in with the low-cost porting tools to maybe bring some of the bigger games coming. That could, in theory, happen.
Yeah, and that would be a good strategy move to be able to do that, because it is, it shows a little bit in terms of its age. I think it does a really good, like you say, if you were playing a 1X, with an SSD in it, it's not bad. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. You're going to get a decent experience, from it. It's just the fact we're spoiled by the fact that we know that there are other things there, and that's kind of where we want services to evolve and kind of all find level footing and a level playing field, really.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we're going to hear something like from Stadia, but please. Shadow Dark? We'll go. Too many younger age games, and I've stopped purchasing as it's still now for serious cloud gamers. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of comments about that at this moment in time. Stadia's game selection does need to improve. The Madden news is a massive disappointment for people over in the States for if you play that, and in the rest of the world, we're waiting for the FIFA announcement to see if that's going to be coming, because I know there is a couple of people out there anyway who are quite vocal saying if FIFA doesn't come, that's it. That's everybody's got a tipping point, so I do hope that they get some more games. Saints Row would be a brilliant game to get, and we know that's running on last gen's tech as well, so it should run really, really well. Here's just a big game which is meant to be coming out this year, but we've heard nothing from.
Yes.
Avatar,
yeah.
What's going on with that?
Wow, I think there'll be an Ubisoft showcase at some point. Hopefully, which will probably lift the lid on exactly what's happening with that. There's a part. I mean, I have to be honest. There's a part of me that does wonder whether Avatar might slip back slightly, possibly. Just with maybe development delays. We know that generally across the board some developers are struggling to kind of hit that schedule and things like that, so we'd have to see kind of what happens, but I'd anticipate some Ubisoft showcase at some point which will lift the lid on maybe some of the plans or some of the things that are going to be coming in the very, very near future.
Yeah, they did a Assassin's Creed one yesterday. In September, they're going to be announcing the new Assassin's Creed. Rumors are an Assassin's Creed 1 remaster. I don't want it to be a remaster. I'm going to put this out here. I want it to be a remake, just to tidy it up. Because I played it on GFN using the 3080. It does look absolutely brilliant on that, but some of the game mechanics have completely changed, and it feels really, really sluggish, and it just doesn't feel right, even playing it in that. So I do hope it's a remake rather than a remaster. But we know we're getting Assassin's Creed stuff in September time, and that's production from November. Thank you very much. What do you think about Xbox Cloud being opened up to play their own digital games?
I don't think there's anything else other than brilliant that you can say about that. I think that's going to be something for a lot of people. You talk about that draw, maybe for some people. I've seen a lot of people saying that the moment that happens, then, they're in, especially when you couple that with Samsung's news. That it's obviously at the end of the month, it's coming into Samsung TVs for 2022, the 2022 models. I think that's something that it's only going to it's going to strengthen the case for people that already use it and want to use it more, and kind of raise the profile, raise the awareness. And then for those that are kind of following it, that are waiting for that to happen to be able to jump in, I think you're going to see potentially another push on in subs when that becomes a possibility.
Yeah, we knew this day was coming. We know it's coming soon now, and my feelings on the Xbox buying of games or you're playing on an xCloud is it's going to be similar to the GFM model, where games are going to have to opt in to be allowed to be streamed across. But I'm expecting most games going forward would have to tick that box to get on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So I'm not too concerned about that, because I think most places are going to sign up, and I would say they've got probably a lot of the big publishers on board with that, because it's going to be in the Xbox ecosystem. It's just how many games are going to start off initially. I think they're just going to go for the big, some of the big hitters to start off, and then just it could become a GFM week where it's going to be an Xbox week where we have to say all these games are now available to play, and there's this is why some of us have been concerned about some of the cloud gaming services, because when the big boys come out and play, they've got their fast libraries. It's easier to catch up in tech than it is with the game library, because the game library is decades old in some cases, as we're seeing with PlayStations now, going right back to the PlayStation era. So I'm just, I can't wait to actually happen, because it gives us loads of more opportunities as well, and more games to try and things like that. It's so exciting that it's moving, and Xbox are driving it. I know it's just lots of wee small steps. There's no big massive steps. I want my 4K on xCloud, because I think
Sorry, carry on.
xCloud is working brilliantly for me for most games, because we know some games in xCloud are rubbish, but most of the games now are running absolutely flawlessly for me, and it is class. And give me the 4K now. I'm ready for the 4K.
Yeah, and I think that that step to 4K absolutely is a must. It's something that has to happen. Especially, if you think that you're going into 2022 TVs, so whether it be OLED, QLED, Neo QLED, Mini, all those sorts of things, they're all, Samsung's range varies from 4K to 8K. You want to be, yes, your screen's going to do upscaling and stuff, but you want to be at that point that if it's embedded, you might want to start at 1080, but you want to very quickly be able to go, actually, it's 4K. And game performance overall, I definitely want to see, that consistency leveled off, because, you can play in 3 different places, get different results, and then play on different games and get different results as well. So it would be good to just see, them kind of control that performance and that experience so that it's consistent. Obviously, cloud gaming is going to vary between each user, but let's try and normalize the experience that people are getting across the board.
Yeah, what I've actually liked about xCloud here, and people may laugh about this, have pulled games which haven't been running, and then they've put them back up again when they've got them fixed. That's what you actually want to see. What NBA, that was an issue, but they have brought games down, fixed them up, dropped them back up again in a couple of days, just to tidy it up. They're going to run into a load more issues when the library opens up. You're seeing that with GFM, where some games are offline for a couple of days and stuff like that. That is going to happen across all the different cloud platforms, and especially when you get into thousands of games, which could happen. But what's GFM at now? They're coming up to 1400 now, wouldn't it?
Games. Yeah. It'll be coming up on 1400 in the library.
Yeah, and then when Xbox opens up, they've got about 200 or 300. PlayStation have got how many there?
You're going to 900 for PS now.
You're going to see games go up and down while they fix them, because that they have to maintain them at their end. It is something where, unfortunately, we're going to have to get, not used to is probably the wrong word, because we should be calling them out when it happens, but just to be aware of going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's a part of normality. That you're kind of gonna, just like we see, like we see a game at the moment where a developer will put out, we're doing a patching update, servers are going to be offline for multiplayer, or something similar. We all know that those maintenance windows exist, and within the cloud space, we're going to have to get accustomed to those. Do you know what? Actually, we need to do this work on this game. There's going to be a maintenance window between time X and time Y, so it'll be down. It won't be available for for streaming at that point. That's just going to be normality, and I think the quicker kind of people wrap their head around that, and as quick as the platform holders try and get a good balance between their timing to cause the least impact, which they'll be able to assess when that is, from the kind of the stats and that sort of thing. I think that'd be, it'll just be normal, and we'll just all go in about it, and we won't talk about it. It'll just be a normal thing.
You just need to be on top of it. For people who don't know, if you go to status.geforcenow.com, that gives you an update on what is happening in GFN land, where they tell you what games are down for maintenance and stuff like that, and if there's servers down. It's a handy wee page to actually see, just to keep on top of things. Geek the Sneak is here. Thanks for joining us. I also think many underestimate xCloud. Yep. I have to agree with that. I think a lot of people are underestimating PlayStation Now as well. I know PlayStation Now is unsure, but I think people are underestimating that, because when that drops over here, it's going to go a bit nuts. But with xCloud, again, it's library, and Microsoft have the second biggest cloud infrastructure in the world, or cloud services in Azure. So they're scaling up. They're doing it from both ends.
Yeah. No, they are indeed.
Okay. Just saying. Okay, this sounds. Barry, you can put this into Duncan speak. Are you worried?
I've seen this comment. Yeah, I've seen this comment. It sounds pretty cool, actually. In that ability to kind of put a single PC and then kind of kind of share it, and share kind of the resource. I mean, I think there's a comment further down that kind of shows that you'd have to be fairly heavy on the resource in terms of the machine to to be able to kind of power and kind of make it sustainable. But do you know what? I'd be really interested if if that's stuff that you're trying out. I'd be really super interested to see how it works out for you.
Yeah. I've got a next comment here. It's about Stadia sales are okay, but in our space, the library management. Yes, I don't want to bash Stadia here too much, but yeah, the library management needs a hell of a seeing to. See, that's what gets me. People are complaining that GFNs is awful, xClouds is awful. I think Stadia is the worst for me, because I can just jump into the other ones and go, all right, I want to play that game, and away I go. Where Stadia, I have to scroll down and all that sort of carry on. But yeah, I agree with that. Okay, what is Immersive Stream? Immersive Stream is Stadia's Google's white label service of Stadia. So that's what's powering the Peloton program. It's what's powering the Capcom's Resident Evil demo. It's AT&T have got Control and Batman. Arkham Knight on there. So it's basically their white labeling service. So the publishers or people go to them and say, we want to play games and that people stream them. So they just go, okay, this is what you need to use. Away you go. This is where it gets a bit murky as well. Amazon do that. Azure do that. Microsoft do that as well. The only one which really gets talked about is Immersive Stream, because it's tied so much into Stadia, because you don't really hear all the other solutions going about. But basically that's it. It is a white label service. Developers, publishers go to Stadia or go to Google, go, we want to use your Stadia tech, and there you go, away you go and run it.
Yeah.
Nothing much to add to that?
Nope, I think you've killed it. Or nailed it, sorry. Shouldn't say killed it.
I'm just trying to see here. Is there any comments you think I should pick out here?
Vet's got a request that we should keep making videos all day. So.
Maker would absolutely love that. So we would just make. What we'll do is we'll organize a dungeon, and we'll chain him and put a monitor there, and just make him make videos all day, and maybe feed him now and again, and some bread and water.
And a big gulp. Every time I see him, he's got like this massive gulp juice or whatever's in it, or milkshake, whatever's in there.
Yeah. Evening, guys. Thanks, Casewell, for joining. Serious disappointed with the new PlayStation tier. So, majority of the premium tier you can already play in emulators. It's absolutely miles behind xCloud, and for spec, way behind GFM as well. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's fair to it is fair to say. I think I think there is work to be done with the tiering system and kind of what they're doing. I genuinely think it's a work in progress.
Just going to go back to what I was saying before about PlayStation now. They don't need to. They are not. Clyde is secondary to them, or maybe even further down the priority list. They are not really caring about Clyde. It's just an added on, just trying to build it up nicely and slowly. Because we know what the next upgrade for PlayStation now is: upgrade to PlayStation 5, and then work that way. They're letting Microsoft do the heavy lifting, because that's the technology they're using. They're using a share for there, so they're letting Microsoft do all the work, all the kinks out, and then they can just benefit from that down the line.
Yep. You keep killing it tonight with these statements. You're just knocking it out the park.
Don't stop talking rubbish. I believe there's a nice surprise on GFN tomorrow. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Nothing about nothing, as you would say.
No, nothing about nothing.
I can't quite do it as well as you.
Nothing.
It's an accent thing.
Yes, it's our amazing accents. I use the Razer Jungle Cat instead, but it's. Have you seen the Jungle Cat?
I have seen it. I've not I've not looked too intently at it, but I know that it exists, and it I know there's a lot of people who use it. It's quite popular, as an alternative to kind of the Kishi.
Yeah, I want to bring up this comment, but I don't want to bring up the person's name. We will. Yes, it's just in case. Yeah, I know what it's from. It is a joke. I completely get it. It's from the movies. So I'll just read out the question. It's just in case. Has anyone noticed a grainy graphics issue with GFN games? I have a 1.2 gigabyte internet and have tried gaming on a new M1 Max Mac and an iPad, and the issue persists. Grainy graphics.
I mean, obviously at that, it'd be possibly worth checking in the settings, because obviously, dependent on what tier you're on. I'm not sure if you're on the 3080 tier or priority.
They're on the 3080 tier.
Oh, okay. There we go. Then obviously within the settings, you can up the bit rate that it runs at. So possibly try playing around with the bit rate that it runs at, rather than leaving it where it sits at standard, because it is dropped down a bit. You can sort of push it up and get a better performance if you've got the bandwidth capacity for it.
Yeah, and on the Max as well, you've got the, what's it called? The funky thing. What the TVs and all do. The upscaling or all that sort of carry on.
Yeah, it's got the upscaling. Obviously, you can utilize the 120 hertz screen, So yeah, you've got the benefit of it there. It should, in theory, at the right bit rate, with all the settings and all that sort of stuff, it should run an absolute dream for you.
Yeah, I use a Mac, an M1 Mac, not an M1 Max Mac. Show off. Uh, joking. I use an M1 Mac, and I don't have any of them issues. I'm not saying the problem with cloud gaming is everybody's one is different, and it's really, really hard to uh, prove that otherwise. If someone says xCloud runs the best for them and GFM runs the worst, that could be 100% the thing, because everybody's is different.
Yeah.
Best value is xCloud. Discussion.
It's an interesting discussion point. I mean, I think certainly if you consider the $10.99 a month that you're paying, if you're in that ecosystem for Ultimate, where you can play across PC, you can play across console, you've got the ability to play cloud as well, and the amount that they're kind of focusing on adding in, there's certainly a tremendous amount of value to be extracted from Game Pass, provided the games that are in Game Pass are games that you want to play, games that you want to enjoy, and all that sort of stuff. Because I think value is, if your values it's a difficult one to quantify, because I think people's game tastes vary. So what everybody may look at and say xCloud is great value, there will be a pocket of people that look at it and say, actually, do you know what? I don't like those games. So for me, it's not necessarily. But I do think they've got good variety that certainly makes it appealing as as a value proposition.
I'll use in the eye of the beholder. It's sort of what you're saying there, but for me, if I'm just looking at it, if I'm a brand new gamer wanting to play games for the first time and just going, which library should I play? This is just a library. This isn't cloud tech or things like that. For me, it's PlayStation. I am absolutely country mile, because they have got. If I just mention some of these games which are in the cloud, they are must-play games no matter what. You've got your Ghost of Tsushima, you've got your Spider-Man, you've got your God of War. They are the big, absolutely amazing single-player games, and for me, that is truly wonderful value. Again, this leads back into the points from earlier. Because PlayStation make you buy your games, a lot of people have already got them in their library. So that's where it's in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, xCloud, for me, xCloud is going to be the Netflix of cloud gaming. It's the one that most people will have. It will have the biggest variation of games. And then PlayStation now could be your HBO. They've got the big bangers which you need to play, and you might not subscribe all year round, but you might subscribe for a couple of months when they drop the ones you want to play in. This is what makes it so brilliant in the cloud. You can come and go and drop these different cloud services as you wish. My only wish was, and PlayStation went and ruined it. Everything would go in the GFN's 3080 tier, and we would have been able to play everything on in there. But that wish has now died, and yeah, I said it before and I'll say it again. I think people are going to come and go. Subscriptions are here to stay. You will still buy games that you want to play, but the majority of gaming, I would say, from now on in, no matter. I was going to say no matter the platform, that's not really 100% true, but in the console space, I'd say the Switch. I'm just going round in circles. In Xbox and PlayStation Land are going to be done through a subscription, and I'm pretty confident in Cloudland as well. That's where most people will end up. Will be in a subscription and just drop them as you please. and it's just absolutely nuts what you can actually do with these subscriptions now. For this and a game a month, I know that's still a lot of money, especially with times going on. For like 40, 50 pounds, 60, $70 a month, you can you can have access to thousands of games across all the different platforms. You could actually drop it down even more, even if it's just PlayStation and Xbox. So that's $25, $30 a month. You will have access to that many games. Mind blowing. It is just totally and utterly. This is the world we're living in now. I can't hear you. I
I
can hear you
try
now.
that. I did a Duncan.
You did it, Duncan.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and the thing is, there is going to be room for Stadia. There's going to be room for Luna, but they just need to get their library right. And for me, out from the two at this moment in time, it's Luna's getting their library right. They've got a couple of games dropped this month. The two Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, dropped onto Luna for your $10, or if you're lucky enough to get them for $6, you've got access to them to play that for the month. Or if you're just a Prime subscriber, you've got Far Cry 4 to tide you over there. We're in a completely different sort of ball game now.
Yeah, we are absolutely, completely and utterly different space. And we've seen with video on demand services as well that you will have multiple subs. So it's just going to become a way of gaming life.
Yeah, it's just, and I know people are going to yearn for the days of just buying games. Buying games will not go away. You can still buy movies, you still buy TV shows if you want, but the majority of the stuff you actually consume is through the subscription. And am I talking nonsense?
Nope, not at all.
No. That is where we're going. And Xbox have pushed it, PlayStation are pushing it now, and we've actually seen Nintendo start to do it as well with their new premium model, where they've dropped Stardew Valley or something onto it as part of it, and then
something like that, yeah.
And they put the Mario Kart thing behind that. If you subscribe to that, you get that. And the Animal Crossing its subscriptions are going to become synonymous. And believe it, this is a brilliant topic.
Brilliant.
Yes, we can just go here. It's the future. You can't sell physical consoles to people. Physical consoles aren't going away. Phil Spencer has been clear on that. He's still going to be making the next Xbox. There's going to be a PlayStation 6 and so on. They will make consoles as long as they're making money on them. Eventually, I do think the vast majority of people will be playing in the cloud and not have a console. But I think we're a generation away. I think at the end of this generation, we may see people happy enough to play in the cloud. But at the end of the one after, I think that's the tipping point where most people will be starting to play in the cloud. Yeah. And I think Xbox will probably be leading that in the console space.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's fair.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Just going through here. Okay. Why do you have input lag on a Rainbow Six? There would be a lot of ways we can tackle that. It's how you're playing, where you're playing, and things like that.
Yeah. 100%. There's kind of a lot of, you've
variables.
got definitely got variables when you kind of throw into that mixture to try and find out exactly, what the what the root of the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be one of those things that actually the service doesn't run particularly great for you. But if it's a specific game, then there's quite a few variables there.
Yeah. Okay, just continuing chucking the questions in here. Happy, thank you for joining us. Okay, question. I know it's a bit silly to ask. It's usually no silly questions. But can you see a future where there's only cloud gaming, and if so, is that going to be too much power to the platform holders, like price, etc.? I cannot see a cloud-only future for decades yet.
Yeah, it's so. I think it's so far away. If I'm honest, I think it's there is hardware has its place, will continue to have its place, like you were just touching on. I think that's kind of an inevitable for the certainly for the time being. Look at all you have to do is look at the PC. How many years have we been gaming on PCs, and we're still doing it. We're the only thing we are doing now is technology's got so good that we're just doing it better than we ever did. And I think that's where you're going to see that cycle start to happen. Is what you'll find is possibly that in between the generations of hardware, cloud will probably take leaps and bounds, and then your next hardware will have to really breach big thresholds to actually show a demonstrable difference. And if you think with some of the differences that they that they've thrown in in previous steps with PS4 to PS4 Pro, a lot of them are little refinements, little bits to do this, add a feature in here or there. They're not massive leaps. Where and I think that's where we'll see that as we go through the next few years, cloud will begin. The technology will begin to take leaps, but then also the developers and the possibilities with what they can do in content will take leaps, which will then start to say, well, actually, hang on, I can't do that on a physical box. I need to be here to be able to do that, and that sort of thing. And that's when that landscape will start to change, definitely.
Yeah, it's the software will drive the push to the cloud, and that's why I was saying I actually didn't see that question before I actually brought it up. I think we're going to see touches of cloud only stuff this generation. It's next generation where we're going to see the real push into it and what is possible, and then that's going to be the tipping point where more and more will play. It all depends what games are made. If games are, we're waiting for the breakthrough cloud game, just like we're still sort of waiting for the breakthrough VR game. That when you get the breakthrough cloud game, that is going to go, oh my god, I should be playing in the cloud basically all the time. For me, if I'm going to point someone, this is how good cloud gaming is. It is GFN's 3080. Go try that. Tell me that's not better than your Series X or your PlayStation 5. But that's just a pure tech. You actually need something to show off the actual what is actually possible. And I'm going to give Stadia its absolute due here. They were starting to show that with like this Stream Connect. And the state shares and stuff like that, just showing sort of glimpses of what is possible in the cloud. And I want them experiences. I want my Rainbow Six Stream Connect, get everybody in your team doing that, and seeing that as an e-sport, and that is the way to play that game. Is on Stadia. Stadia is the must-play place for that because you can do that, or GFN do it, or Xbox do it, and stuff like that. That's why I was actually excited about give me a tick here, the Kojima announcement where they announced a cloud-only game at the Xbox conference. People said it wasn't going to happen, and it did. And we know that that is going to drive people to try xCloud because of the name. I don't like its games, but I respect it. I know so many people do, but that got me excited just to see this cloud-only game, which is going to drive people to try it in the cloud.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, because if you think about, all the work that went into Death Stranding, and I appreciate the fact people love it, hate it, all that sort of stuff. But if you consider the work that went into it, the kind of the mind, the focus, everything, the sheer talent that was put into crafting that, when you take a mind like that with the kind of vision that he has, and he stands there and says, I've got the opportunity now to build the game I've always wanted to build, I've not been able to do it. For me, that just builds up excitement for Cloud. Obviously, yes, there's the initial excitement because it's a Kojima project. It's going into, he's working with Xbox. But ultimately, the thing is, you have to, when you step back and just look at those two things and step back from it, look at what he's talking about is, I can do something I've never been able to do, and it's because of Cloud. And then when you get to those possibilities and the capabilities and the way that his mind will think, what he's going to look to do, and that dynamic, that really excites me for what we're going to be able to say. This is cloud gaming. This is what we can do, and I think it's got the potential to set a standard, and a real bar for that, and potentially Jade Raymond with what she's working on with the team, at Haven, if they can do something that's cloud centric, we could potentially kind of see again your PlayStations, your Xboxes looking to drive something that's then actually this is only made possible by being in the cloud, and that's super exciting.
The game that I'm thinking, which may be part of this new cloud strategy at Ubisoft, there's a curveball with their scalar tech. It's maybe the Assassin's Creed series, because we know if the new Assassin's Creed game that they're making is going to be a gas gamer, and the rumors are you can jump in between all the different series. Just think of the amount of storage space that would require, never mind anything else. I think the next Assassin's Creed game could be the start of their venture into this cloud future. If it isn't, the best place is going to play that on the cloud just because of the storage anyway. But we do know Ubisoft's playing about with the scalar stuff. Yeah, it's just an exciting sort of, we can see it, we just can't touch it yet. We can see all some of these things which are in spitting distance to us. We just can't wait to actually see it. For me, I don't even want a big, massive game in the cloud. Give me something stupid in the cloud and just baby step it. Give me a roguelike in the cloud, on xCloud, on PlayStation, on GFN, on Stadia, or on Luna, where it's click and play my one, just your state share, bang, 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 and build it up that way. Build these small, nice wee features in the cloud, and then it will just evolve from that, and then you'll get the bigger games where people have gone, oh flip, we can do this, we can do that. See, that's what I'm expecting now from Xbox first, is a smaller game. I'm not expecting the Kojima game to be their first one. I think it's going to be a smaller game where it's a more experimental game, and I want that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're the things there, the little experiments and the small things. We've seen how they can turn into something that have a really positive reputation, do a really good job at kind of showing off potential and that sort of thing. So I don't think you're far off the mark with that being a possibility.
No mention of Amazon Luna. Sorry, just seen this now. We touched on Amazon Luna there. I think Amazon. I've said this before. I think they've got a gamer involved in their game selection, because when they put games onto their Amazon Luna or Luna Plus channel, it's usually a game with a reason to be there. It's either a cult classic, it's a big banger, or it's some sort of interesting sort of game. I really like the creation on the Luna Plus channel, and this month no exception. Two big Resident Evil games going on there. You can't knock that. I like what they're doing. They obviously need to expand, because we're just observing here from afar. But I know some of the comments we've got on the videos which Maker have put out, and the comments on videos before. People really like the quality in Luna. Luna is looking really, really good, even though it's 1080. Give me a good 1080 stream over a dodgy 4K one anytime, or 4K turned down settings. I'm more than happy. But Luna, I'm really impressed with their selection.
Yeah, and that's something I think as a pairing, we've been talking about that for a while, haven't we? On and off, in the fact that that they craft very carefully selected games into the library. But yeah, we want to be sitting here being able to experience it, not just sitting talking about it.
Yep, exactly. We want to play it. I have not played it despite the rumors out there. I haven't even touched it. The furthest I've got to is it looked like it was loading up and then it died, and I realised I was outside the States. But PlayStation are bound to play, or they would have not pulled God of War off GFN. Believe it or not, I think that's partially it, but I think they didn't realise how good GFN was. I think because the GFN, when you put the God of War on the 3080 on GFN, it just looks phenomenal. Remember, you can still play God of War on GFN if you buy that and play it before the end of the month. It will stay in your library, and you will still be able to play it on Geforce now.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason was?
I mean, I can lend a bit of understanding to what you're saying there. I think it was, it's quite simple in the sense that putting it into the PlayStation tiers and putting it, and announcing that it was going to be available, within there, I think was just we need the spotlight here, not there. And that's it really. We want to do our thing with it, and that's what it is. So we're going to take it away from there. I don't really see much more than that.
Yeah. Someone's trying to get you.
Someone's trying to get me.
Yeah, I heard your phone.
Did you?
Yeah. What was it mine? Because it's after 9:15 here, so my phone's telling me I have to go to sleep.
My phone actually did go off, but I think my phone's on silent. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Just wondering, is GFN 4K possible on Sony TVs, Google TV? I'm going to be honest, I don't know at the top of my head.
I don't know confidently. My gut instinct would say no, because they've been very clear about focusing on 4K being on the Shield, not necessarily on the app. And I'm sure they were starting the app at a particular level of obviously 1080, and then looking to build up to it at a later stage.
Yeah, that's ringing a bell with me. Yeah, it was 1080. Good. And then build up. I think Stadia is the only one that works 4K in the app.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It does. Yeah, it runs 4K off the app.
Yeah. Okay. Andy is being naughty and asking how much GFN are paying us. I can say we declare anything we get. So if we get supplied a code, we say we have been supplied a code. And such like that's, I don't crack the whip in a lot of things, but that's one thing I do crack the whip at. But we try and declare everything within the first couple of sentences.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very vocal on the fact that if the game code has been supplied, and that doesn't just extend, that extends beyond GFN, but obviously in this instance we're talking about GFN. If a game code, if a controller has been supplied or whatever, you will always see early in kind of that content that it's highlighted that that's where either the code or the piece of tech has come from.
Yep. We have hi, John. Thanks for joining us.
Evening.
Happy likes everything here. What have our thoughts been from PlayStation Plus so far, from everything we have seen? Oh, go away. I was talking about the comment.
Oh dear.
From what I have seen, it needs work. However, it's looking brilliant. Something I forgot to mention here. What people may not know is if you play PlayStation Now and you've got a supported card, it actually upscales on PC. So that is something to keep an eye on. But for me, it needs a bit of work. But overall, I like the game selection. As soon as they announced that Returnal was going into that, I was not buying Returnal because it's been on my.
I'm exactly the same. I've wanted to play Returnal for so long. I just wouldn't buy it until it was ready, and then obviously this has happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. I don't need to buy it now. I'm done. I'm good.
So I'm liking what I'm seeing with the games and stuff, but it looks like it's a bit of a mess at launch. So yeah, overall I'm reasonably happy, but could do a bit better.
Yeah.
I like the Humble Bundle choice as a subscription. I get games every month, but they're in form of game keys, so I can cancel. Yeah.
We're exactly the same. We've both got it. Both got it and absolutely love it.
Yeah, this month 7 out from the 8 games are on Geforce now, so there is that. So if you want to build up your game library nice and reasonably cheaply, you can do up the Humble Bundle and claim in your Epic free games and picking up. Humble Bundle is a brilliant way to build up your PC library very quickly, and it is safe and it is illegal and all that. All the big publishers use, Take-Two use it, Nintendo use it, everybody uses it, so it is legitimate. So
can I just clarify that you said that it's legal? Because it sounded like you said it was illegal. It's
illegal. It's legal. It's yes, it's 100% legal and all that sort of carry on. It isn't one of the dodgy key sites. This is a legitimate key site.
Yeah.
But the humble choice, I wish it was a wee bit better occasionally. But this, again, everybody's game choices is different. And your mama knows. Yes.
I can kick off this one because last Thursday, I guess we were talking about it last week in the Q&A, and I know and your mama knows mentioned it. And on Thursday night, I actually played a couple of games of multiplayer FIFA 22 on my phone via remote play, and it was as good as the experience that I remembered. When I first tried it with my PS5 and my Xbox, it looked crisp, it looked clean, it was responsive. It was really good.
Yeah, remote play. This is, that is exactly it.
It's exactly that.
It's basically your console is the data center, if you want to go for that.
Yep.
If you're going to do remote play, the best thing to do is cable it. Make sure it is Etherneted into your network. But that's the same for all sort of cloud stuff, because that does run it the best. Let me see. I'm just going through here. GFN is basically a console because you get a limited library of games. It's PC hardware, but it's a limited library, and gaming is the only thing you can do. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I'm not. Don't go down the rabbit hole of Omniverse today.
No Omniverses.
no Omniversing today. I'm going to touch on this. More publishers need to open up the GFN with people's stream libraries. Just seems like a lost revenue opportunities in some cases. Okay, I'm going to demystify some of this here, and I'm just going to talk about Flip Barry's worried here.
I don't know where you're going with this one.
Yes, I know. Some of the issues about bringing games to GFM is licensing, and especially like sports titles and games with other bits and bobs, maybe with some music and stuff. They might have to go and double check and triple check that they're allowed to bring that into the cloud. So there is that. That's why you might not see some games there, but you think, why isn't that game there? All these other games are here. Why isn't that one here? There's lots of actual legal sort of tick boxing stuff they want to do. Some developers and publishers are cloud skeptic. Take-Two is the lead one, which I still think is coming to GFN, and that is a hill I'm going to die on. I think they're going to be coming. But I wish more would be on there, just to get more games, because I know the GFN team are very, very vocal about that. They want every single game they can on the GFN. If they could get every single game there, they would put every single game there. Is basically what we're basically told. They want all the games there, but there's just a lot more things going about that which are nuts.
Yeah, that's the best way to explain it. It's a crazy and complex situation at times, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I know some people think it's just ticking a box and allow their games on the Geforce now. It isn't just that. There's actually a wee bit more involved, and publishers need to get it signed off and all that sort of malarkey and stuff like that. But just like the other platforms, there's games which actually come to GFN which I would not have gave a second look, but I've only tried them because it came to GFN. And Vesper is one which just comes straight into my head.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think there's other games that you have picked up as well, just because it came to GFN, and we've went through the list and went, we like the look of that game. We're going to get that sort of thing.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Probably the two that stick out off the top of my head is probably Industria and Deliver Us the Moon.
There's so many games which come in, and what I can advise people: don't rule out games that go to a platform just because you haven't heard of them or anything like that. Actually go and investigate them, especially when there's not that many games are coming, or it's a big event where they come. That's where Game Pass is absolutely rocking, because there's games that go to Game Pass and into the cloud, and you go, I would have not touched that with a barge pole, but I'm going to give it a go because I can. And Starfield for me comes into that equation.
Yeah, yes, I know what you mean.
Yes, that was me making a bad joke, but yeah, there's games that go into these subscription services or onto the platforms, which, because it's a steady, we know we get Xbox news and Stadia news on a Tuesday, we get GFN news on the Thursday, we get Luna news randomly. No, it's usually it's like on a Thursday. Yeah. You know what's coming, and you can check out the games. And I recommend just having a wee look and just not rule out the games just because you haven't heard of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let me see. Golden Sun, the big problem is big publishers like EA are anti-consumer control freaks. They don't like the idea of using a game's license, a customer. Yes, they're short-sighted, and they don't care that GFN opens up the possibility for more people to buy their games. Again, I think we're sort of touching that. What I'm liking, and it seems to be a big thing in the whole industry anyway, is everything's becoming a bit more cross-platform, cross-save and stuff like that. We're edging closer and closer to where that is going to happen, where we just jump across all of them. in one go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that is. I've lost my train of thought of where I was going to go then, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Essentially, is what I was going to say.
Yeah. Uh, Shadow Dark, interesting with the God of War withdrawal and the new agreements that Nvidia have with publishers. Looks like yeah, that, believe it or not, that is the first thing that drew my attention about the God of War news. It wasn't that God of War was leaving, it was, if you've actually played it, it's going to stay. And we know that was the big thing what happened in Nvidia before all the games left after beta. It was like whoosh, they all seem to go, but now they seem to have learned their lessons and they've got a wee box and they have to sign that if the game comes to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely spot on. I think it is. It's a great addition in there, and a smart move, as Shadow Dark says. And I think it pacifies some of those fears as well on a gamer level, because I think as clouds evolved, I think for as long as I can remember, one of the biggest fears that people seem to have with cloud is, well, what happens if it stops being available? Can I still play it? And that is contributed by things like concerns over how GFN was when it came out of beta. Is the sustainability in X platform or Y platform? It's a genuine thing that you do see bandied about, particularly with cloud. People don't seem to think about it with the physical hardware. They think about it with cloud. So I do like the fact that they've put that in there, and that gives a sense of security.
Yep. Colin has said, thanks Colin for joining. If Game Pass went 4K for Christmas, it would beat any first party game for me. Yeah, I think and other people are looking at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to my guns. I shouldn't really be saying that from being from Northern Ireland, but I'm gonna stick to my guns here and say we're going to get that around the time we get the box. So next year, I'm going for that. We may see a beta of it rolled out to maybe insiders this year.
I'd go November.
You're going to go November, it's coming? I'm going to say next year mainstream, this end of this year for insiders, and they can test it. Okay.
We'll see where we are.
The Arkham Knight says, thanks for joining. Beta gets out jail. Who do you think is buying EA? Because we know EA are on the market.
I know Duncan's theories on this, yes, as he demos off his hat, and I'm also looking at the comments that kind of follow that question. And that's exactly where Duncan's thinking is. And do you know what? I know maybe on Twitter if you've seen some of the things that Duncan said, but I know that from a lot of our conversations for a good number of months now, when we've been having our catch-ups of an evening or talking at the weekend or whatever it is, you've been saying Apple is coming. They are going to make a move that people don't expect.
And they made one yesterday, what no one expected.
Yes, yeah, which you fired across. Yeah. So and I mean, I do think it. I think we touched on this possibly last week, or maybe even the week before. I think EA has to go to somebody who has got the ability to kind of do something with it and is maybe comfortable at the fact that it's available in other areas. That's. I'm not quite sure where it will go. I mean, if it ends up at Apple, I'll be really intrigued to see kind of obviously what they do with it, and I hope they do all the good, the right and the good things with it. But I think ultimately it has to end up somewhere where they're comfortable being it not being all in-house. It's ours. It's not going anywhere else. They have to be comfortable with it being wide scale, especially with some of the franchises that they've got.
Here is what I've been toying. I can't even speak here, but I've
Doing
been
and
thinking
throwing.
about, yes, about this. Believe it or not, last week I was backing off the idea of Apple buying EA because I didn't think they wanted all the developers, because it's going to be a completely and utterly change for us. However, after yesterday, I think, I think it may happen. For people who don't know, yesterday Apple announced, and I know it sounds weird and a completely indifferent sort of tangent, but they announced that they've acquired the worldwide rights to Major League Soccer, and they are going to broadcast that around the world. We are in a content war, and we're seeing that Microsoft buying up studios, Sony buying up studios, Nintendo getting into that as well. Apple are the biggest fish out there, and they have been tiptoeing very, very slowly to gaming. Steve Jobs wasn't big into gaming, but we've seen this sort of change, and the last couple of weeks has just went completely haywire. We had the Apple event from 2 weeks ago, where they have announced that No Man's Sky is going to Apple, along with Resident Evil as well. They're taking gaming now seriously, and they want people to stay in the Apple ecosystem. And I think they've finally woken up to realize that for Apple TV was struggling for content, so they've just went out and bought. They've got Major League Baseball, and now they've got the football for around the world. They know they need content for games now, and I think they are going to go for it. And I think they are not going to. We know what Apple are like; they are going to go nuts if they'll just go and buy and doesn't contemplate what they could do. They could buy EA for fun with the amount of money they have got, and they could go out and buy other people as well. We're just entering a content game, and people do not want other people needing their ecosystem. We heard that from Reggie when he was at Nintendo. They're not competing with Xbox and PlayStation. They're competing with Netflix. Everybody is vying for your time. And Apple have got gaming aspirations. They've got the headset which is coming out, the AR and VR sort of stuff, so they need games for that. Apple seems like the bet. Who I would like to get it is a different one. Who do you want to get them?
What, EA?
Yeah.
You know what? I have to be honest. I'm honestly not sure. If I think about where it could go, I'm not even sure where it fits best. If I think about different companies, I'm not sure that I see somewhere that makes sense to me as an individual that says, yes, I can see that as a home for that, because they will do X and Y, they'll further it on, and that sort of stuff. Maybe that's narrow-sighted of me, but I'm not sure that there's anybody that instantly stands out that makes me say. And I actually think that is the problem that EA have got when they're looking for buyers. Maybe the Apple, if we look at the Apple thing, maybe they're having to look outside of the circles, because in the space that they're in, there's maybe nobody that is right, or they see as the right fit for it as a brand.
Yeah, I've said this, and it's probably going to bite me in the backside. I didn't actually see EA going to what I would call a platform holder. And Apple, I would say, would probably be a platform holder now.
Yeah.
For me, EA always looked a better fit going with like Take-Two and doing a merge with Take-Two or an Ubisoft, just to consolidate themselves and to be a big player in the content war to come.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting swayed towards Apple just because they are starting to realize that they've always knew that content mattered, but for their new enterprises, they know content is going to be key, and they want people to stay in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And if they put FIFA on Mac and it's on, okay, we're going down a rabbit hole here. Where we do know that Apple have patented cloud gaming as well. They've got their own cloud gaming in the background. They need games if they're going to really push that. And if they get EA, and just imagine they'll blink of an eye, all EA games are now on Apple Cloud, and then scale it down, they'll be on their phones as well. Just imagine how many Apple iPhones are there?
Oh, the millions.
And that's where they're probably going to be thinking, chuck that into the arcade, Apple Arcade, which is their gaming subscription service. You know, Dragon Age on your mobile phone as you go home
Yeah.
and play it on the TV, through their Apple TV, through the big picture sort of things here.
Yeah.
It's just unimaginable. What could happen?
Well, exactly. The only thing they'd have to consider is if they want to invest the time in listing each of the games available separately on the store to comply with their own rules, or whether they'd start to make changes.
Yeah. So this is an interesting wee discussion, actually. Caseball, I'm just not ignoring it. I've actually said I do fancy Nvidia actually going after a studio after the ARM deal collapsed, because they've got all that money in their back skyrocket ready to be used. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Nvidia went out and did that, and maybe say that we're going to keep it all third party. We're buying this to push our tech to the limit and blah 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 and all that sort of nonsense, which you could see. But this is just mad. We're just in total and utterly different sort of ball games here. If Apple get involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I think the thing that you can be reliant on is the fact that when they get to that stage where they further things and they want to deliver a proper service and make a subscription out of it and all that sort of stuff, that the content library that they're going to want to bring, they're going to want to have the best of what they can get, because they view their brand as the best of technology. And then when they look at you look at their Apple TV, you mentioned that, but look at the content that they're bringing in, look at the actors that they attract to make shows exclusively for Apple TV, look at the music artists that they work with for music, all of those sorts of things. They consistently want to have the best available content. So if they are going to go into that territory, they're going to go to a position where they have to be at a position where they're not just confident that they can they can be in the space, but they want to be confident that they can compete if they're going to do it.
Yeah. The Arkham Knight, there's more Android phones than Apple phones. Yes, but Apple users spend a lot more money on their phones than Android users. That's just out there. Apple users are more, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, you just spend more money on their phones compared to Android users. It's just out there, and all the different sort of stats out there. If you're an Apple, you're more likely to spend in an app. Sorry.
It's because you're a dafty. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. No. It's I don't know why it is. It's Apple users do that, because you would think the one with the bigger numbers would actually spend more.
I think the thing that you have to contend with as well is, yes, obviously there are more Android phones out there. I'm an Android user, so Android is my preference. But the thing that you have to factor into that is, as well as there's only Apple that make Apple phones. When you look at Android is an operating system that's licensed out to multiple different manufacturers who produce their devices, who have got a range of devices. I mean, all you have to do is look at Samsung's range as an example. In an average year, they've probably got about 10 or 15 models. Do that refresh, every, let's say, 9 to 12 months as a cycle, and introduce upgrades and models. That's one manufacturer that's producing 30 different models of Android phone before you go anywhere. So to an element, to a point, it's understandable that there are more Android phones out there, because you've got, historically as well, there's more manufacturers. But it's I think the Android system appeals to a particular audience. And and sometimes that's why you end up maybe with more users that have got it as well.
Yeah. Again, I actually like what Google are doing with their stuff now. They're taking it all in house and going the Apple approach. That's going to take a couple of years for that to really get in. But I do like what they're doing there. But once you're embedded into an ecosystem, this goes back to this and why that sort of stuff is big. When you're in an ecosystem, it's hard to shift across, but the cloud just makes it easier. Pluto, thanks for joining. Imagine if Microsoft bought EA, Call of Duty, and all the sports gaming pass. Casual players will be set up. If this was about 12 months from now, I wouldn't have ruled off Microsoft getting EA. Even though I'm not a big platform. But Microsoft will not want to touch EA with a barge pole until Activision Blizzard has passed. But even then, I still don't think it makes sense for Microsoft to take them.
No, I don't think it does. The partnership with Game Pass and EA Play built in, and the content being delivered. I mean, Xbox and GFN now, the two areas where you can play the most EA titles. So obviously there's strong ties there, strong relationships, which is good. But yeah, I mean, would it make sense? I mean, if they picked it up at a snip in a vulnerable position, yes. But I agree with your point. Until anything's through, any clearance for, for the acquisition on Activision, they don't want to show any intention of picking anything else up and raise any markers that could make somebody say, "Hang on a minute, this is the end game. This is what they're trying to get to."
Yeah, I think we will end that there. And Pluto, absolutely, that EA partnership could be taken away. I think they would have to honour their deals like Microsoft are going to have to do if the Activision ones, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think that's a nice wee point to end at.
I think it is. I think it's a good point.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. If you like this, like, subscribe, all that sort of jazz. We're going to be putting our first members only podcast thing out on Sunday, or is it next Sunday we're starting?
I think it's next Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, I think we said next Sunday. Yeah. But
we're going to be doing a big topic each week. Goes to members first, and then on to normal feeds after that. It's just going to be, we're going to take a topic, have a yarn, and see where it goes. It could end up anywhere, as we're seeing like tonight. We're also going to be dropping a video out on Sunday for members, just which is going to be 100% members only. Barry goes, what the hell is he talking about? It is just going to give a rundown on our plans for the week and what videos are going to be coming per week, just like a programming guide for our members and stuff like that. So thank you all. We appreciate absolutely everybody who comes here, even the ones who come to troll me, Andy Morse, and we thank you all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see everybody in the chat, everybody interacting, and it's great just to sit here and talk about games and have good spirited conversation. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you all, and we will see you again soon.
Bye.